we are going to look at changing some of the enemies and the collectibles within this room. Now, in the previous one, we looked at room 1 and we created this, which was our little player, and we had some apples in here, and we had some angry French fries, and these would move back and forth, and basically the apples would be the collectibles. We also made another object which was an end level, so that when we hit this it would go on then to level 2 or room 2. So we're going to look now at getting different assets in here. So instead of having the same things on level 1 and level 2, we're going to change them. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we need to remove these enemies and remove these collectibles from this room. Now, the easiest way to do that is click on the layer that these things are on. So, for example, I'm on my collectible layer here. And if I click on the top one, hold down the Shift key and then select them all. And then either press the Delete key or the Backspace key, depending on if you're using a Mac or a PC, it'll get rid of them. Now, we're going to do the same thing with the enemies. So, to do that, I'm going to click the enemy layer. Click on the top one, hold down Shift, click on the bottom one, all of them are selected, click the backspace, and it goes. Now you can see I've already got my folder structure set up, and if you haven't got one of these set up, I advise you to do so. In Game Maker, the folders are actually called groups, so if you right click on something, create group, you can see you can make things like collectibles, enemies, and anything else that you need. In order to do this, we're going to make some sprites first of all. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on my collectibles and right click, go to create, and we're going to go down to sprites. Now before we go any further, we are going to import sprites from a location. So I'm just going to switch over to this website, and this is a free website, which I say free, there's lots of different things on here which are free, some are paid, but I've filtered it by using the free option, and we're looking at game assets here. This website, itch.io, I'm not affiliated to this in any way, shape or form, but I've used it a few times to get a few assets on, and it's really, really, really good place to find things. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click on this one here, Pixel Adventure. The reason I'm using this is I like the way these are laid out and they're in a nice format, so I can show you how to import and we can convert things as we import. And again, I'm not affiliated to these at all. We're going to download 2 versions of this. This is Pixel Adventure, and if you scroll down, there's Pixel Adventure 2. Both of them are well worth getting, and they'll offer a range of different items there, so you can see there's a quick preview here. To download them, click on the download now, and you've got an option. You can either give a small donation here, or you can click on no thanks, take me to the download. And if you click on that, it'll download then to your downloads folder. Likewise, if you click on Pixel Adventure 2, you can do the same thing, click on the download, and then it will do the same thing there. You can either click on no, take me to the downloads, or click on the donation there. When you click on take me to the downloads, just download the zip file to your computer and then extract them to your folder. So here's what I've done, and excuse the pun, here's what I've done earlier. Well, pun, it's not playing words really, but this is what we've done earlier. So we have a Pixel Adventure 2 and a free 2 folder. We've also got another one called Treasure Hunters because I've been downloading a few other bits and bobs. So if I click on free 2, the first thing inside here, this is the first one here. This is the Pixel Adventure, this one. Right. What it's done is it's given me a few different options here. If you just double click on the hello, this is a quick welcome from the developer. And as I said, I've got no affiliation with these guys. It's just I love the assets that they've made, and they are quite easy to use and easy to import. So to do this, what we're going to do is look through some of these. The first thing we're going to do is look at some of the items, and we're going to look at some of the fruits. Now, by default, you can see there's lots of different things in here. We've got apple, banana, cherries, melon, kiwi, orange, pineapple, and if we were to double click on one of these, so for example if I double click on kiwi, you can see it shows me a quick preview of what that looks like. And these are called strip frames, right? Because it's basically a strip of images all together to make an animation. So the first thing we're going to do is call this sKiwi. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to drag this image here into the game. So just watch what I'm going to do with this. and dragging it into the sprite and leaving go. It's going to just give me a quick warning. Just click on yes, and then you can see these have imported. Now, if this doesn't work because you're using an older version of GameMaker on the Mac, or it doesn't work when you're using a PC, I'm going to show you another method in a moment when we import another sprite, okay? But if that has worked, wonderful. We now need to put this into an animation. First thing I'm going to do is click on Edit Image, and you can see we've got the strip. What we need to do is click on the image icon on the top and go down to Convert to Frames. Now, once we've done that, what we need to do is set the size, the frame width and height, and handily for this is 32 by 32 pixels. If I just zoom this in a little bit, you can see there that's 32 by 32, which is lovely. And what we're then going to do is we are going to tell it how many frames to use, frames per row. So if I keep on increasing these, you should hopefully see a white box start to come out. And if I zoom this in a little bit more, you can see now there is a little white box which has gone over all of these. So in this item here, the 17 frames, if I click on convert, it's going to give me a quick warning. Are you sure you want to do this? Click on yes, and you can see now it's basically replaced all of these, the strip with this animation, which is lovely. Now there is one downside with this. When you've imported these images, they are quite small. They're only 32 pixels, so we need to resize them. If I just stop this playing for a second and close the Kiwi, you can see it's quite small. What we can do is we can click on this size tool here. And if I change this from 32 pixels up to say 64 pixels, and then click in the bottom one, you can see now it's 64, 64. If you click on apply, it's then made the size a little bit bigger. Now you'll notice I haven't gone much bigger than that. There is a big border around this. We can crop it down, but I'm not going to in this example. Now you can change how quick the animation runs. So you can see this is 17 frames and it's running at 30 frames per second. If we slow this down to say 15, you can see it slows the animation right down. You've got to play with this to see what will work with your number of frames you've got. So I think 25 works quite well there. So that's my first image that I've imported. The second one we're going to look at, we're going to import another image now. And with this, we're going to import another type of file. So if I just look at these here, so I got fruits. If we look now at importing, say, one of the other ones, let's have a look. What should we import? Let's import a banana. So what we're going to do is right click on collectibles again, go to create, and we're going to go down to sprite, and we're going to say this one's going to be called S banana, and then we're going to do this a slightly different way. So on this one I'm going to click on import, and then what we're going to do is we will click on the downloads folder because it's in my downloads. I'm going to go into free 2, I'm going to go into the items, and then we're going to go into the fruits, and we can see here, look, we've got options. So let's click on bananas and let's click on yes, and you can see it's imported that for me as well. Now there is yet another way that we can actually do this. If you click on if you click on edit image and then go to image and then go to import strip image, you can import them straight here. So if we click on banana as an example, and you can basically do the conversion straight before you import. Now the conversion was done in exactly the same way as we've done the other one. So we've basically said convert to frame, how many frames have been used, what's the size of it, and so forth. Now we need to resize this. So if I click an image and then we're going to go to resize all frames, this box comes up, which is the same as the one we've done before. So we can say 64, 64 and apply them. And you can see it's basically resized it. Now, because it's got the same sort of number of frames and it's running at 30 frames per second, that's fine. We can close this S banana and we can actually make it a little bit slower there, 25 frames. That's better. And we've now imported our sprites. Now this is really useful for you to do especially if you are importing a lot of different sprites from different things. So we're going to do an enemy now as well. So I'm going to right click, create, and let's go down to sprite. And this one, I'm just going to say S enemy L2 because I haven't decided which enemy I'm going to actually import. Now we're going to do this in exactly the same way. The only difference is I'm going to use a slightly different folder. So I'm going to go to edit image, then we're going to go to image, and then I'm going to go to import strip image. So instead of being in the fruit category, we're going to go down back to the downloads folder, and we're going to go into Pixel Adventure 2, go into enemies, and we're going to choose one of these enemies here. So I'm going to click on this one here, mushroom, and we're going to go for one of these, the run one. Now, what you will find is, I can't really show you in this one because it doesn't show me. What you'll find is normally with a lot of these folders here, you'll have a run, an idle, and a hit. So a run is when the object will be running, so you'll have legs or arms moving, and an idle will be just a stationary object. So I want this to run because I want to do the same thing as I did with the French fry, where it bounces between a certain area. So if I click on the run as an example, and then click on open, you can see, because this is 32 frames, 32 height and width, we've got a slightly less number of frames here. We've only got 16 to import, so I've just altered the frames per row down to 16. It's still 32 pixels. Click on convert, click on yes to import, and you can see now this is imported for us. Now we need to resize it, so click on image, resize all frames, and let's go up to 64 here. Okay, so that's made it now a little bit bigger, so we can close that, and we are done with this one. There's one thing that I am going to just change very quickly with this. I'm going to change the origin, the position. So I'm going to just put this into the middle center. So it's at the middle of the frame, just in case we do any code where we're going to switch which way it's looking. So let's close both of these, and we've now imported our banana, a kiwi, and our enemy. So let's make the objects for these things. So on the collectibles, what I'm going to do is right click and then go to create, and we're going to go to object. So we can start off with O kiwi, and we're going to bind the sprite to the object. Lovely, that's good. And we're going to do the same now with the banana. So right click on collectibles, go to create, go to object, say oh banana. And then what we're going to do is click on that. We're going to go to sprites, level 2. Let's go into collectibles, banana. And we're going to do one more, then we're going to do the enemy. So I'm going to create object. So I'm going to say oh enemy L2. And again, we're just going to bind the object in here. Oop, wrong one. Okay, so these are all bound. And what we now can do is we can import them into our room. So if I double click on room 2, and I'm going to go on my enemy layer, I'm only going to put one of these enemies in. And then on my collectible, I'm going to put a few bananas in. And I'm also going to put a few kiwis in as well. Okay, so we're nearly done with this video. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look now at programming the banana and the kiwi. I'm going to leave the O enemy to the next video, which is going to be showing how to put it onto a path. So for the banana, what I'm going to do is double click on the banana. We're going to then add a collision event. And then what we're going to say is when we collide with the player, we are going to add in a variable block, and we're going to add in a destroy. So this time we're going to say score is 2 relative. So every time we hit one of the bananas, we're going to gain 2 points, and then it's going to destroy the banana. And we're going to do the same sort of thing with the kiwi. Add event, and we're going to go to collision with the object player. And we're going to do the same sort of thing where we say score, and we're going to give it this time 3 points, and then we're going to do a destroy instance as well. Okay. Now, if we just want to test this out really quickly, just to show you, if you want to switch between the rooms and you haven't put, and you don't want to play the whole game, if you click on just above the, wherever the home is, click on the next icon up, you can basically change the order of the room. So at the moment, the house is next to room 1, so that means room 1 is going to be the first room which is going to load. So if you ever wanted to change the order of the rooms, so you're testing, say, a lot out on room 2, that's room 1 loaded, all you need to do is click underneath there, or click on the next item down, and just make sure the room that you want to load is on the top there. So you can see room 2 now has got a house next to it. That means that's the first one that's going to load. Now, once you've done that, you can basically test your game out, and you can see that that is working there. Now, we haven't actually told the mushroom to move or the enemy to move at the moment, but you can kind of see here the score counters are working really well. But there was a little bit of an issue then. I don't know if maybe it was just me. I thought then something went down. Yes, okay, so obviously something went down there, so there's a little bit of an issue here when we're going through. So let's have a quick look at this. So the first thing is, let's click on play. So that's 2, that's fine. That's 4, that's fine. But for some reason, when we hit the Kiwi, we are losing points. Okay, so let's just have a quick look in my player. Have we got anything in here which says we're going to lose anything? Well, score is 2 relative, that's fine. And then with the Kiwi, score is 3. Now then, this is a bit of a mistake that I've made. I should have ticked relative there. So if you've been screaming at the computer when I've been doing this, apologies. What this was doing was every time I was collecting a Kiwi, it would just basically put my score to 3 all the time instead of adding 3. So a little bit of fault finding there. My fault, I forgot to tick relative. So let's just try it out again to make sure it works. This is the importance of testing. So that's 2, 5, there you are, good. 8, there you are, that works. Okay, so obviously that highlights the importance why you need to test your code and why you should test it quite often, just to make sure that you aren't putting any errors in. So in the next video, what we're going to look at doing is getting this icon or item, object, whatever you want to call it, to move and follow a path.